Just a second. So firstly, a very warm welcome to all the participants who have joined this masterclass. I am Kashish, the host for today's session, and I will be hosting the session. And to start with, I would like to tell about MyWays. So MyWays is an AI and career growth platform for the students. We help them to being employable in their desired role. We also provide them with internship opportunities, courses, and training sessions. And we also help the students to track their growth. Apart from this, we conduct weekly master classes for the students, just like today. Usually, we have our master classes on every Saturday at 5 p.m. sharp. And for every week, we have a new mentor and a new topic. So you all can tune in that too. So today we have a very special guest, Miss Ritu Singh, and she also came few months back. She has taken a masterclass with all of us on soft skills. Some of you must remember her. So she's a certified career coach, and today she's going to take a session on interpersonal communication. And today she'll tell you that how it can make or break your career. So she will going to tell you about how to practice interpersonal communication, how to make an impact on others through your communication, and how to stand out from every situation in that case. And lastly, the power of effective communication and how it helps you to build your personality. So over to you, Ms. Ritu.
Thank you so much, Kashish. Thank you for this wonderful introduction. And I'm so happy to be here on a Saturday evening talking about my favorite subject, which is interpersonal skills. And I'd like to thank and congratulate the entire team of MyWays for hosting this wonderful, and having this wonderful session on every Saturday, which has a lot of learning involved in it. So kudos to the team. Okay, and now coming to the interpersonal skills, before that, I'll just quickly share my screen before we start. Kashish, I hope I'm audible to everyone, just ensure.
Yes, ma'am. And your screen is also visible.
Okay, the screen is visible too. Okay, so a quick introduction while Kashish has already done the job better than me. My name is Ritu Singh, as you all can see on your screens, and I'm a certified career coach. I've got about 9+ years of experience, and I'm presently working with an edtech company, and I work there as a manager for their career services division. So that's a brief about me, and let's just get going with interpersonal communication, make or break your career. That's an interesting tagline to begin with. And moving on to my first screen, there's a small poem, which I find very beautiful, and I resonate with this poem, and I go back to this poem a lot of times. So I'd like to read that out loudly to you before I actually get on to the meaning of that. It says, "No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main." No man is an island. This itself is a very beautiful line. So what does it tell? Like, no man is an island. This basically means that, your story is never about you alone. What you are and what you've achieved in your life, it is all through different people meeting you at different point in your time who have contributed to your success, to your story, knowingly or unknowingly, or willingly or unwillingly, or maybe accidentally. So whatever success that you've achieved, it's not just only your success, it is about people who have contributed to it. And even if you read some of the success stories that you find online, you will see that that success story is not about that one person, but it's the success story of an entire community. So people who have contributed, people play a very important and a vital role in your success. So having said that, I will move on to the next slide, which is a simple definition of interpersonal communication. So what is interpersonal communication? It's simply put is sharing of information and expression through verbal and non-verbal communication, which is essential for building connections. What does it mean? It's like sharing of information, exchanging information with each other. We all know the meaning of verbal and non-verbal communication. Verbal means through your words, through your sentences, through the kind of the choice of words that you use, how are you communicating? And through non-verbal would mean that, through your facial expressions, through the hand gestures, through your eyeballs movement, and, through various ways how you're communicating to other people. That's simply put the definition of interpersonal communication. This can be, I've divided this into 3 categories. One is dyadic, which is a method of communication between 2 people in any form, which is like a dialogue, like, a one-to-one conversation, maybe in an informal setup. You can say it's a conversation between 2 friends, maybe your parents, maybe, you and some relative. So that's an informal setup. Or maybe in a formal setup, this could mean an interview, or this could also mean a one-to-one coaching session or a parent-teacher meeting. So that's dyadic, which means it's between 2 people. Small group communication, again, it's self-explanatory, 3 or more people, like your dinner table discussions in an informal setup, and in a more formal setup, maybe your office meetings. And public speaking, like what I'm doing right now, is art of communicating to an audience. Okay, now we all know what interpersonal communication skills mean, but then unfortunately we all don't practice it that much. Why should I care? And isn't it a part of a person's personality? Why should I care to learn about interpersonal skills at this point, at this stage in my career? I mean, I know that we all have to communicate with each other. It's something that comes naturally to you. What is there to practice? What is there to learn? These are some of the questions that people come up with. And why, I'll tell you the importance of interpersonal communication skills. A lot of people, we all know it in our heads, but then we don't practice it that much. So it can lead to a number of positive outcomes. Moreover, every job requires you to be a part of a team and interact with others. I saw a lot of you typing that you all are in college first year, second year, or you may be taking off for your first job or towards your internship. So wherever in your career you're going, in your life, wherever you're going, you're meeting people. It's all about dealing with people, right? So when you learn the art of communicating, you are able to convey your thoughts in a much better way. You're more expressive, and you make an impact on the other person. Like, you could be dealing with customers, you could be dealing with your co-workers, your bosses, your relatives, your family members. There are so many, like, we are dealing with people ongoing day-to-day basis. Every day we are meeting people. So if let's just talk about in a professional environment, if we talk about professional environment, it helps you create an enjoyable workplace environment. It helps you get higher sales. How does it help you get higher sales? Because once you know those skills of communicating, you can negotiate better. When you negotiate better, you can convince other person, and that could result in higher sales. That could also result in increased revenues and profits for the organization that you're working for, or you will be working for. It can open new opportunities. That means that, when you are in an interview, you are able to express yourself in a better way. And that also makes you an effective leader when you are able to communicate your thoughts and be able to make impact on the other person. So strong interpersonal skills can be learned through mindful attention and practice. It is not something that that's a part of anyone's personality, and we are not asking you to change your innate nature or your personality altogether. What we are saying, or what we want, is to through mindful attention and practice, how you can build your communication skill, which can help you in to grow professionally in your careers. Now, how do you increase your influence on others and build interpersonal skills? I have actually, created some pointers to help you give some ideas, some suggestions on how can you build your interpersonal skills. So these are self-explanatory, but then I would still like to pick up each of these and explain maybe in a little detail. If you want to build your interpersonal skills, if you really want to make an influence or an impact on other person, you have to start reading books. So, I am not an avid reader. I do not read a lot, but then that's a habit that I have now inculcated with time, that you have to actually go back to books. You have to read a lot. And How does it help you in effective communication? Reading books will, help you contribute more in your conversations. When you know more, when you then you have a better authority when you're saying something. So that reading books will help you in building your interpersonal communication like that. 1 second, I will just turn off my WhatsApp from the screen. Okay. All right. So reading books, as I said, that also, tells the other person that you have a learning mindset. You are somebody who is, who's curious about things, who is into learning. So that also makes an impression on the other person. Develop empathy. Empathy is an overused word. I mean, I do not need to explain it to people that, we need to have empathy, but while I say it's an overused word, it's an under-practiced ideology as well. People just don't empathize. So in order to build interpersonal communication skills, in order to build bond with anybody in your professional life or in your personal life, you need to empathize with people. What does that mean? You have to put yourself in another person's shoe. You have to think from that person's perspective. You have to understand what people want from you. This is all interconnected, like my second point and my fourth point. Understand what people want from you. So you have to do a little homework when you are actually going to communicate, when you're going for a formal discussion with anyone. You have to do a little homework. You have to create smart goals for yourself, that what I'm going to talk about, and more than what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to present myself. So it's what as well as the how. So how is very important. And how do you do that? These are some of the skills. These are some of the pointers that can help you. You have to become the master of your subject. So again, I can't be speaking with so much of confidence unless I know about that subject completely. Right? So if you know about something, you become more authoritative. As I said, you speak with authority, you know that subject, and that's how you can, lead a conversation. So always when you have to talk about something, when you are talking on any subject, become a master of that. So dress one level up. That's also very important. I strongly believe that how you appear is how you're perceived. So you have to always dress up nicely. Dress up. Your appearance matters a lot. Take a notch up at your dressing and your appearance, and you're going to make a better impact on people. Very important skill is listening. Be curious to know about people, embrace other people's realities and diversities. When I say listen, I mean, I'd like to quote here that, I was reading an article which said that, Harvard had done a research wherein people more than, they wanted to find out what is the biggest fear people have. So I think, more than death, the biggest fear people had was fear of speaking up, fear of public speaking, or fear of expressing their views. And that was the first fear. And the second fear was of death. Now, what I feel that, while public speaking is definitely a fear amongst everybody, but then a lot these days, especially these days, we lack listeners. We lack active listeners these days. People have got so much to say. People have entangled in their own thoughts. They want to express, they want to, ventilate, but then there aren't good listeners who are listening to them. So in order to build any relationship, authentic relationship, you need to invest time in that person by listening to that person. So that's very, very important. As I was going back to the example, of Harvard example, the first fear is fear of public speaking. I think with Corona and with the kind of pollution that we have in Delhi these days, I think fear of death would again take the third seat. And second fear would be fear of not being heard. So please listen to people, please hear them out, please embrace other people's ideas, their realities, and put yourself in their shoes and then communicate. So that's very, very important when you want to indulge in an effective communication with somebody. Make an emotional connect. It is again related to what I just said, that you just don't do a surface level understanding. Just build a bond with that person and make an emotional connect. That is how you're going to make an impact That's how you're going to build a connection with that person, and that connection will last long. And the way you present yourself is also going to make an impact on the other person. You have to become trustworthy. People should be able to trust you with whatever information they share with you. You have to use positive body language. Positive body language would mean that, when you're speaking to someone, you make an eye contact, your hands are not closed, and you're not cracking your knuckles, and you're not chewing your nails. These are not considered as positive body language. So you have to be very, very assertive, not aggressive, and you have to have a positive body posture. And the last point here says practice ABCD. So let's go back to our school days. Practicing ABCD is something that we can actually we can understand that in a much better way. So what does A mean here? A for me is an appearance. As I said, that you have to dress one level up always. And your behavior, how you conduct yourself, how you present yourself in front of others, the kind of words that you use, how your nonverbal communication is. You can't be making faces, and you should not be rolling your eyeballs and making some hand gestures at people. So that's your behavior. Your communication, verbal and non-verbal, and your digital footprints. That is something which has been added later. Why? Because, when you know a person, when you know each other, maybe your friends, your colleagues, or your relatives, or your family members for that matter, we are all connected digitally as well. On WhatsApp, on LinkedIn, or Instagram, I don't need to name, you all know it better than me, right? So we are all digitally connected. So the kind of content that you consume online, and the kind of content that you post online, or that you like and share online, that also is a part of your interpersonal, your personality. That is how you're perceived. So you have to be very, very particular. You have to be very, very cautious about the kind of content that you're consuming on internet. So what kind of posts are you posting? And so that's also very important, as I said. So practice ABCD. What does ABCD mean? Your appearance, your behavior, your communication, and your digital footprint. Worst mistakes you can ever make. Do not assume, verify. Very important when you're with a set of people in your professional setup, or in your, any other personal setup, or maybe with your friends or whatever. Do not come to conclusions. If you have a doubt, if you're not sure of anything, do not assume the result. Just verify that information. I'll tell you an example from a work example that I can quote here. That a lot of times your bosses or your teachers may give you some commands that this is the report, and this is how I want this report. So if you've not understood it correctly, you will go back, you will spend your time on that, and the entire activity will be wasted if there is a gap in the communication. So it is always better to verify that information. You can probably ask that person very politely that, if I've understood correctly, is this the information that you want me to work upon? Or if this is how you want the report to be presented? And, just verify the information before assuming anything. Do not overshare. Take this test. Who cares? Okay, so when I say that, you have to be very, very authentic in your relationships, when you're speaking with somebody, you have to come out as a real person, somebody who can be trusted. But then there are times when we actually do not realize that there is a line between sharing and oversharing. So to quote an example, suppose if you are out, so it's all about networking these days. People are connected with each other. So maybe you are meeting your school friend after a very long time, and that school friend has also introduced you to another friend of yours. So then three of you happen to, go out somewhere. So your school friend may be your best friend or your close friend or somebody who you can share everything with, but you are with one more person there. So there you have to be really, really careful of, you don't share any information which is of no interest to that third person. So that is also something that you need to take care of when you're speaking in front of people. That is this information going to make an impact or going to help the other person, or is it going to leave a positive impact on the other person about me? So who cares is a test that you need to take when you are speaking to other people. Do not build surface level skills. As I said, when you want to while communicating, you have to be very, very sure of what you're talking about. If you do not know anything, you can probably just say that, maybe I am not aware of this, I need to get back to you, or probably I need to do research on this, and then I can, share my views on that. So do not build surface level skills. Don't bottle up, build the bridge. Very important. Again, a lot of times in our relationships, what we do is, if we have not liked something that, maybe what my friend has said, or what my boss has said to me, or my colleague has said to me, a lot of times we just keep it to ourselves, and we probably share it with other people, and not share it with the right person. So what happens, we are bottling it up, we are just keeping it to ourselves, and then one day what happens, we just, burst out. So do not do that to yourself, and do not do that to any other person. Also build the bridge. That means you take the first step and, try and bridge that gap. So that's very important. Instead of, just waiting for the right opportunity or right time to come, just try and create that right opportunity and time. Okay, there is no such right time as such. My next bullet point says, don't use flashy words, rather be authentic in your conversations. Simple is powerful. Can we all believe that? Simple is powerful, and we really don't need to use flashy words, flashy language in order to impress others. You can probably speak in broken English, but be fluent in your thoughts. Just remember what I said. You may speak in broken words, but then just be fluent in your thoughts. That means you must know what you're talking about. Otherwise, you will just fumble anywhere. Okay, have a fluent thought process and talk in bullet points. At times, we, while talking, while communicating, we just go on and on without, and we just lose the actual crux of the talk. Even if you're going to your superiors, your bosses for that matter, I'll quote an example here, that do not write lengthy emails, or do not talk, in like do not narrate the entire story. People might lose interest. As I said earlier, people do not have time these days. Everybody is in a hurry, and your bosses, your superiors, they are super busy with their workload. So whenever you are writing an email to them, just ensure that your emails are not very lengthy, because otherwise nobody is going to read the entire thing. Similarly, when you're talking, when you're presenting also something, talk in bullet points. Just remember what are the key highlights that you would want to discuss and have in your conversations, and just, be around that. So that was about some of the mistakes that you can make. Now, a very simple test that I have here that I would want all of you to probably self-rate yourself is on a scale of 1 to 5, whereas 1 is least and 5 is most. So if I have to ask you, are you an interesting conversation starter? Are you somebody who can actually, light people up through some interesting topic that can be of interest to everyone? Are you somebody who's like that, or you lack that skill? Maybe, you can self-rate yourself from 1 to 5. The second point where I would want you to rate yourself will be how well read you are. Do you read, or you don't read at all? If you don't read at all, you can probably give yourself a 0 or a 1. And if you read like me, like I consume maybe, one book in 3 months, then you can probably give yourself a 2.5 or a 3, like that. So, and my third bullet point, the scale on which I would want you to self-rate is, are you somebody who's funny? Because that also is something that attracts people, that makes an impact on people. Are you somebody who can make people laugh? Very, very important these days. Yeah. So are you somebody who can make people laugh, who can, give those one-liners, who can be witty, and who can bring smiles to people's faces amongst your group of people? Or are you somebody who has traveled so much and who has so many stories to share about your travels? Or are you somebody who's like a relationship manager? So are there people in your network reaching out to you for taking advice from you? So maybe on these 5 scales, if you all can rate yourself and just add your points for all of those, and see if how much do you actually get? What is your score? If you are less, oh, this should be actually less than 10. I'm sorry about that. This is greater than sign here, so my bad. This should be less than equal to 10. If it is less than equal to 10, then you are less memorable. People will forget about you because you're not that interesting to talk to. If your rating is between 11 to 15, you are doing good, but you can level it up, and you better level it up, because we see most chunk of people are on the middle track. That's where the most competition lies. So you may get lost in that competition. You are not somebody who's not performing at all, but you are at the middle track. So it's very important for the middle trackers to come to the first level, because there is a lot of competition, as I said, in the middle track. So 11 to 15 is you can level it up. 16 and above, you are charismatic. So I'd like to know from you, if you all can type in the chat box, like what's your number here is. That will be very interesting to know. I'll give you some time and I'll take a pause. Fourteen, Ashutosh, nice. Yes, others, please. Your question. Oh. Come on, any other? Only Ashutosh? I can see a couple of questions also here. I'll take them up. I'd like to know your score here, Mohan. Okay, so you are 16. Excellent. Sanjay. Sure, Mohan, we'll answer your questions. Do we have any more, or? Okay, now that I don't know if all of you are doing this exercise, or you're already on a Saturday evening mode already. So let's just maybe, wind this up here. So this is what I wanted to share about interpersonal communication skills. I'll be happy to take up the questions and answer them. Kashish, will you help me with that?
Yes, ma'am. So I guess
stop sharing the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
So first of all, thank you for this lovely presentation.
Thank you.
So now the flow will be like, I would like to request all the participants, if they have any questions, they can type in the chat box, we'll take up them. And there is one surprise factor, like we asked the students at the time of registrations through their mails that if they have any questions regarding interpersonal communication. So we received few questions. So I will be taking those questions at the end, like a rapid fire round. And that might give you more clarity on this topic to all the participants.
Okay, sure.
So we have few questions, like existing questions. I'll just quickly ask.
Hmm.
So Mohan is asking, what is the difference between the interpersonal skills and corporal skills? Or maybe corporate skills.
Corporate skills. Okay. So interpersonal skills. Okay. So interpersonal skills would mean any kind of relationship or any kind of communication that you're having be it in your professional career, in your professional life, or in your personal life. And corporate skills is definitely, your business skills, how well you present yourself in front of your bosses, your presentation skills, and I think interpersonal skills takes care of your corporate skills as well. That's what is my answer to that.
Yes, thank you. So we have one more question from Ashutosh. How to manage time on building skills? How to manage times on building skills and also need communication needs moral values, like something like this, like does communication includes the moral values too?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
and what was the earlier question? What was the earlier question?
How to manage time on building skills, like with your day-to-day activities, how to take out time for maybe learning new skills or the interpersonal skills part.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's an ongoing process. Learning never stops. So it's like, you're having your breakfast every day. It's like having your dinner every day, working out every day. You have to take out time for your, brain's activity also to happen, to upskill yourself. So probably if you're throughout the day, if you're not able to manage your time in a way that you get time to learn, then you need to probably, adjust a little bit on your sleep time and probably wake up a little early, and maybe then you can get onto some online courses, or you can consume some nice content online. So that's how you'll have to, find time for yourself. So there is never enough time for anyone to accommodate everything, but it's all about managing that.
Right, well said. So, Ashutosh asked for the LinkedIn profile and for the connection request. So, to all the participants, I am sharing the profile links of Miss Ritu Singh in the chat box. You all can follow and connect with her. And yes. So, Mohan asked one more question. What is conflict management and how can we handle the situation as a leadership quality in organization or any company?
Okay. If we can ask Mohan to unmute himself, I have not understood the second part of the question.
Right. Mohan, are you there? Can you please unmute yourself and ask the question directly?
Hi, Mohan.
Mohan, if you're not able to unmute yourself, then you can give more clarity on the question by typing in the chat box only.
Okay, there is network issue, he's saying. So what is conflict management? It's the term itself says, in an organization, in a professional setup, maybe, when there is a clash of interest, or there's something that, both the parties are not agreeing upon, then that is a conflict. And how do you manage, or how do you resolve that conflicts? You can only do that through communicating, only through, maybe sitting together, brainstorming or brainwriting. You can probably come to a conclusion. And I don't know if that is what his question is. Handle the situation as a leadership. Okay, so somebody who's at a leadership position in an organization, and if he or she wants to, probably resolve an issue in the team, then the best way to do that is to, sit with them, talk to them, hear them out, and as I said, that, you have to brainstorm together, and hear both the parties out, and then come to a conclusion. So it depends from situation to situation.
Right. So Shiv Shankar is asking a question: how we can reduce the fear of public speaking?
Okay, to reduce the fear of public speaking, how do you if let's just go back to maybe school days. If you have not learned your lesson, how do you learn it? How do you do that? You have to actually practice it, right? To learn or to be a master of any skill, you have to start practicing it. And that's the only way to do that. Maybe you can take help of your friends or your family members, and then in front of them you can present something, you can probably create a small presentation on any topic and tell your friends to rate you, or you can stand in front of the mirror. That's an old way of doing it, and unless you start practicing it, you will never be able to overcome that fear. All right. So, and for that, you need to actually be sitting in front of people. So maybe you can ask your friends to help you in that, and your family members also can help. And there is so much help available online as well. You can probably enroll yourself in some classes, but then, as I said, unless you practice it, it is not going to help.
All right, ma'am. So do we have any more questions? If you guys want to ask any question, then feel free to type in the chat box. Till then, I will start with the questions that we received during the registration. So one question which was very common was, what are the major challenges that we face while building our interpersonal skills?
Mm-hmm. See, the major challenges that we face while building our interpersonal skills is the things that I just discussed, through my presentation. One is we are not very receptive to feedbacks. So in our head, we have thought of something and we perceive that information like that. And when the other person is telling me some feedback about that, then you have to be really open to accepting feedback, and you have to really feel. Another thing that I wanted to say, that a lot of times, in fact most of the times, we feel that people who are around us, they are our competition. They are my competition. They are telling me because उनको अपना कुछ उल्लू सीधा करना है. They have their personal interest. That's why they are probably letting me down, or they are giving me this feedback. I should not be accepting it. So one thing I would suggest everyone out here, and that's what I tell in all my sessions, you have to start believing in people. You have to start believing that people around you are your comrades and not your competition. When you take them as your comrades, then you start believing them, then you start being receptive to feedback. So listening people, observing people, and believing that they are your friends, they are your well-wishers, is definitely going to help you build interpersonal skills.
All right. So there were multiple questions in the form that what are the factors for improving or building interpersonal skills? So I would like you have covered most of the part during your presentation. So now I would like to ask you, only if you have to say, one key factor that is responsible for interpersonal skills out of all the factors. So what is that one factor which should be something which everybody should inculcate while building their interpersonal skills?
Speak with your heart. Whenever you're speaking, that's how you're going to make an impact.
So beautiful. All right. So can you suggest any hobbies or habits like that we can inculcate in our day-to-day life that can help us to build our communication skills?
Reading is a very good habit. Even if you're not an avid reader, just like me, start investing in books. When you have invested money in something, then you tend to probably, start reading. So just start by reading 1 page a day, but then do read some books. There are so many good books available, and particularly the genre that I read is about self-help. So I can recommend a few if you want, probably later also. But then I would suggest that, start reading books. That's going to really help you. That also, you will be able to contribute in a lot more way in the conversations with people.
Okay, great. So I have one question which has two parts. One is the introvert part and one is the extrovert part. So with the introvert part, people ask that I am an introvert, and how can I actually speak to people, because they already have that fear and they are trying, but still there is no output which is being generated. So what are the things that they can do to build, like from the very beginning, from the level 0?
So I am an introvert myself. I mean, I can't quote a better example. So for introverts, I think, you start by having conversations in a small group, because we are more comfortable speaking one-to-one with people. So such people, introverts, generally have a fear of public speaking. They are scared, and they fear social gatherings. So I would suggest that start contributing in smaller groups, maybe. So with 2 3 people, 4 people, if you're able to express your thoughts, then probably that is going to build your confidence, and you'll be able to present yourself in front of a larger audience as well.
All right. So, like, adding on to the second part of the question, which was for extroverts. So there were two people who, wrote in the form that we are very extrovert and we don't stop while speaking, and we don't have that patience to listen to the other person. Basically, one of the most important factors that you have shared is listening to the other person. But there are few people who are very impatient or extrovert, and they just don't stop.
We have a lot of them, Kashish. We have a lot of them. We really lack listeners big time.
Right. Anything that they can do.
So again, as I said, you have to listen actively to the other person, because if you just go on and on speaking about yourself, it's going towards narcissism and nothing more, that you just about me, myself. And mostly people are like that. They want to express themselves. As I said, there are so many thoughts in their head that they want to just ventilate, but then we do not have those listen. That's why maybe cases of depression are growing, and then we have so many counselors and helps available. What do they do? What do these counselors do? They listen to you, right, patiently. So if we find that help around, if we can help each other by listening to each other, that's going to solve a lot of problems.
All right, great answer. So I hope the audience, those who face this issue, might inculcate this and become better at listening to others.
Yeah, even one person does that, our purpose is solved.
Yes. So Ashutosh in the chat box asked one more question. In leadership, what important points to maintain leadership, how to monitor to each other? Ashutosh, would you like to unmute yourself, because your question is little unclear to me? If you would like to unmute yourself. Ashutosh?
Hi, Ashutosh.
Hello. Hello. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ashutosh, please tell me.
Yes, ma'am. I can say that, ma'am. How to improve ourselves on the leadership? That's my question.
Okay. Okay. So in order to be a better leader, you have to actually, I would say that, the most important quality of a leader is that you are able to make an impact through the way you communicate. Okay. And when I say that, that does not mean it comes with authority or it comes with power. It should come with trust. It should come with, people believing in you. And how can you develop that? You have to be real and authentic in your relationships.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So even I am done with the rapid fire questions. So if anybody from the audience wants to unmute themselves and want to ask anything regarding this topic or something around the soft skills or any topic that you would like to ask our career coach, feel free to do that. And we'll just wait for a few seconds and then we can continue. So please unmute yourself if you want to ask any question. I guess there is no one, and we have covered almost all the questions. Still, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to send them to us. And I've also shared the mentor's profile in the chat box. Please connect with her for more insightful information and to understand about these topics in a better way. So thank you, Ms. Ritu, for taking this masterclass in such an amazing way.
Thank
and
you.
I hope, I hope our students loved it. So now I am here with an opportunity for all of you that we also shared with your mail that we are going to announce that at the last part of the masterclass. So now I'm going to tell you about my Gurukul, which is an extended domain of myself, my ways itself. And in my Gurukul, we have hiring partners at one end, and we have the student community on the other hand. And we help the students to get placed in their desired role and in even their desired company. So we have partnered with Paytm, FleetX, Upgrad, and many big MNCs and big startups where you all can apply and you all can get an job opportunity through MyWays. So our team will be sharing the interest form for the same in the chat box shortly. So you all can fill that out and fill the interest, and then you all can like we will get back to you via mail with a test link. So to add to this part, so we have 3 rounds. The first is the test. It is a 30-minute test wherein which will be regarding your domain. Then we will be having an internal interview with the team and then an external interview with the company. So once you qualify that, you will get placed and your traineeship period can be up to 3 months to 1 year according to the profile. So that was it from my end. And Ms. Ritu, if you would like to give any feedback or any last, concluding statements to the students.
I think we've covered everything, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you, MyWays and the team, and the lovely audience for sparing time on a Saturday evening and to listen to this. I mean, I feel honored, and thank you so much for that.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Also, okay, sorry, we received one question from, okay, Mohan, I'll take this. So one question to Kashish ma'am, whenever I have tried. Mohan, you can, I'll share one email ID in the chat box. You can text on this ID and we'll resolve your issue. So I've sent one email ID in the chat box, student.myways@AI. So please feel free to write your query on this ID and we are here to help you. Yes, Mr. Tu, you were saying something. I got a little. Yes.
No, I'm done, Kashish. I was just thanking you and the entire team of MyWays and the special audience here who have spent their Saturday evening with us. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for joining in. To all the students, see you next Saturday, sharp at 5 p.m. with another topic and another mentor. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye.